Hello.
Hello?
Yes, welcome, Manu. You okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. 2 minutes. Okay. So we'll start a bit recap what we learned during our previous lesson, and anything you remember what we discussed during our last lesson?
Yeah, about the laws and the agreement, the contract.
Yes. So we discussed about the contract. So what is meant by contract?
They are the agreement with the other parties for the activities we will do.
Yes. So contract, is the agreement which we call the legal binding.
Yeah.
So contract is the legal binding between two companies, two organizations. That's a legal binding. So what is supposed to be in a contract?
The offer we are making.
Yes, offer need to be in a contract. Then acceptance should be.
Yeah.
We discuss about consideration.
Yeah.
And the person need to be a capacity. Yes, sound-minded, underage, and all these sort of things we discussed during our previous lesson. Anything else we discuss? What about the invitation to treat?
Yeah.
Invitation to treat is the open offer, like we discussed about advertising, 20% is off, and the car is available for sale until this weekend, until somebody offer and acceptance happen. It's called invitation to treat.
Yeah.
It's not a contract. So condition of the contract need to be, they're supposed to be offered, they're supposed to be acceptance, then it become a contract.
Yeah.
So that's we all discussed during our lesson. We discussed about the breach of contract, need to pay damages. What is the difference between civil and criminal law?
Criminal is like the crime with the like cheating or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the civil is like breaking the rules of the country.
Okay. It is between the people to people, yes,
Yeah.
like individuals, but the criminal is between the government and individuals.
Yeah.
Government of the legislation, individual not follow it, it's become a criminal offense. And the civil is company set the rules, they not follow it. Company set normally the penalties or damages other party need to be paid, those being affected due to the contract not being met. So that's a big difference between civil and criminal. Then we discuss about the court system in the UK and EU.
Yeah.
So European Court of Justice, we discuss we discuss about civil courts, and we discuss about CCJs, penalties. So those people not meet it, that can be a penalties, and
Yeah.
so that's so those sort of things we discussed during our previous lessons. Okay, so today we are moving forward. We're looking consumer laws affected businesses and their consumer, sales good act, sale supply services liabilities, consumer remedies, defective goods, consumer credit and credit agencies, form of credit agreement. We'll go through the consumer credit license and companies, legal entities, main difference between the traditional partnership and limited partnership LLPs, which is governed primarily by the Limited Liabilities Partnership Act 2000 and the Limited Partnership Act 2001, and which dealt the rights of the members of the LLPs, separate the corporate identity, and Companies Act 2006. So all this will go through in our discussion today. So today lesson will address all these things. Any question? Okay. What is meant by partnership? So we discussed during our previous lesson types of partnerships. Anything you remember?
Yeah, the corporate limited partnership, the corporation shareholders.
Okay. LLP is stand for limited liability partnership. So in case of if one party can't afford it, the bank are borrowing money from the bank can't claim from their personal asset the money which they owed. So money they owed, they can't claim from private partnership under the LLP, which is a private limited partnership. Any question?
No.
10. So today we are going to discuss about consumer laws and things. So that will be our focus key. So what is meant by consumer?
The one who consumes the product, like who buys them.
Okay. What do you think? Why the consumer law is important?
Sorry?
Why consumer laws are important? Why? What is the purpose of consumer laws?
No idea.
So, so consumer law protect the consumer are not fit for purpose. So consumer have a right. Yes. So we always saying customer is a king. Yes. So customer is a king. So we have to protect. If the king will move some, of course, we'll not get the business. So consumer, so lot of legislation is protecting. So today our discussion more will be towards the consumer, towards the customer, and what sort of the contract we need to be. So first we're looking Sales Good Act. What is meant by? We heard about Sales Good Act?
No.
Okay, so
Yeah, yesterday we discussed.
Sorry?
Yesterday we were discussing, right?
Sales Good Act. To mean the goods need to be sorry, my slide is the other way around. So okay, so Sales Good Act, which is 1979 being set up, and it's been amended in 1995. This says that all the groups must be described. It also says that all the goods must be satisfactory. So goods need to be satisfactory. If goods are not satisfactory, not fit for the purpose, and supposed to be not buy the goods. So good need to be satisfactory. Furthermore, all the goods must be fit for purpose which are intended to be used. So if have you any experience when you bought something it's not meet your demand or the wishes?
Usually shampoos and creams.
So anything like you bought something that was not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like shampoos usually, but they like that dry the hair, damages them. Usually the shampoos. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's the problem today. Sorry. So next we're looking the Sales Good Act, which in 1979, that's fairly purpose to protect the consumer interest. So if the goods not fit for purpose, so we discuss, so if good not fit for purpose, so that can be as a consumer have a right to return.
Yeah.
So which we'll go through. Okay. Then the Supply Goods and the Service Act, Supply Goods and the Service Act. If we'll make the service contract and we'll supply the goods, the act allow us. So Supply Goods Act 82 protect against the poor workmanship, delays and excessive charge. So if somebody delay your work, provide supposed to be construct a house, supposed to be repair the house, if don't provide the services within a time within, so that can be a charge under or can be claimed the damages under this act. So Consumer Protection Act 1987 in the UK is referred to price. It's referred to price. It's referred to price. It's refer and safety of the goods. It states that the consumer cannot be misled about the price. It also applies to the sales price. Massive reductions have been highlighted, which are not necessarily. So that's all come under the consumer. Is it make sense?
Yeah.
So also when the goods are placed on sales at very low price, but the business hasn't got the goods to supply. Hello? Hello? So that's come under the, hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
I don't know what's the problem today. It's the network. So, okay, Consumer Protection Act in 1987. So this is all about that. Then we have a Trade Description Act 1968. So we discussed sales 1974, which is goods need to be fit for purpose. The keywords fit for purpose. If not, you are buying goods which did not meet the purpose of yours, you have a right to return it under the Sales Good Act in the UK. Then we have a Consumer Protection Act with we need to protect the consumer interest. Then we have the Trade Description Act. What is meant by descriptions?
The information or the description of it, it describes.
Any examples? Any particular example?
Is that particular like maybe on a when we do online shopping, maybe the size difference or something like detail the size is discussed, but in real it's not true.
Yes, so like a Pepsi, Coke, have a description how much is the sugar, yes?
Yeah.
So if that not represent what is the inside of it, so it means you're misleading. So Consumer Act as well as the Trade Description Act, so company can be charged for the damages because you're not giving the true and fair information to the clients. So goods need to be fit for purpose and the trade description because they have a right for refund. Yeah, consumer can sue against the company and that can take take them into court. So like in the UK, it's people being missold it's called payment protection insurance. If you pay it, so the bank will pay you. That's the insurance again. If you borrow the money, but actually every bank used to sell with the loan the payment protection insurance. Even the customer were not aware of. So what happened then in 2010? The case went to the court, and court said all refund to the customer. So from that day till 2012, so all the banks paid them to customer back their money with interest. So the payment protection insurance was missold. That was not fit for the purpose, and thus give the court, that is a bill. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, some problem with the connection.
Don't know what's the problem. The whole network today. Oh, anyway, so that was the things, So it's a lot of people, they receive the money and refund from the various company. Okay, then next is under the consumer protection. Have you heard about the Facebook?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's happened with Facebook last 2 months, 3 months?
The data of the users was given to other companies, other organizations. It was.
So Facebook actually Facebook sold the data.
Yeah.
And the data being misled. Facebook is obliged to follow the Data Protection Act, not sell the consumer or the user data to someone else. So that's why the data being sold to various companies for the purpose of so that's come under the data. So Data Protection Act, there are the 8 principles. Data can't be, so as a company to protect the consumer, so Data Protection Act limits that always the companies in which we use the information on individual, the information. So we can ask the company what information you hold about us. Any document they are holding, we have a right to ask in under the Data Protection Act 1998 in the UK. So Data Protection Act, which year? 1998. So let's see, you're going to open a bank account, and we can say, okay, let's give us your dad's ID card, give us your card number, give us where you're born, give us details, what you like, give us details, what's your future plan, give us details about. Can we ask so many questions? Do you think? No, because we need just the information. We need your ID, yes, where you live and where you used to live to check your credit scoring, you're entitled or you never bought or borrowed the money from the bank. Yes, if you borrow the money in the past and you can afford it to pay back, that is fine. So that's all come under. So excessive data is not allowable under the data protection. We can't really. Okay, can we store the information forever about you?
No.
So we need for the certain period of time for the purpose of the business, we can store the information, not forever. Yes. So that's all become under data, but the Facebook is violated, is being fined and still in a fining. So we need to look around the Data Protection Act that help us to protect the consumer interest as well. Okay, that's a part of the consumer as well. So we need to look around, which we'll go through now more in detail. Okay, any question up to now?
No.
Okay. Okay, can we discriminate somebody?
No.
The consumer will say, no, no. Oh, you're a small consumer, you're living in this area, we'll charge you different price. Are you from abroad? No, we'll charge you different price than our local customer. Can we discriminate?
No.
Law we can't, The act make it unlawful treat women or men or any customer or for implied trend matter related to, so we can't really discriminate it. So on the basis of, like, we'll say, no, the black people can't enter into the store. Yes?
Yeah.
That's come under the Sales Good Act, and we can't really in term of, so that's the Sales Good Act. And discrimination, we can't discriminate, Okay, in nine, or we can say beard person, they keep the beard, or the Muslim, they can't enter in so that's come under the discrimination as well, which is a huge, so we can't really discriminate. So in 1976, the law is being further divided and been new law being set up. It's called Equal Opportunity Commission. So that's, we need to give the equal opportunity. That's come under the employment as well. So that's, it's come under the Equal Opportunity Act as well. So that's we need to be followed. Sorry, I think so is the issue today is the network, but we'll carry on doing. Okay, so next further. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. I don't know what's the problem today, network. So Sex Discrimination Act 1975 discriminate when the person is treated less favorably than other person in the similar situation, and this treatment cannot be objectively and reasonably justified. So direct discrimination, implied treat a woman less favorable on the ground of the sex than would treat it as a man. So that's a direct discrimination. So under discrimination can be two types of discrimination. Direct discrimination, where the employer treat the woman less favorable, or like example, indirect discrimination is a discrimination on the basis indirectly discriminate against women if applied to her as a requirement or the condition which is would apply to men. So maybe we're saying no, or this and that, woman can't get the breaks post, is a direct as well in some cases. So we can normally indirectly we say no, that's fine, all this we need to be treat everyone equally, but we are discriminating indirectly women as well. So that's we need to look around as well. We're not supposed to do within a business. So Discrimination Act, victimization, it is unlawful to discriminate against the person, victimize the person, either bring like you become a union member, you join a union, and we can discriminate you. We say no, you have to work longer shift, you have to do this and that. That's your victimization because you're a part of member. Are you part of this group? Or Muslim, you have to work extra hours, this and that. Your shift is supposed to be start earlier than. So that can't be. Harassment is imply unwanted conduct on the grounded of the sex, unwanted, so that's a gender different, or so marriage status and things, that's a discrimination as well. So under the Data Protection Act, we can't discriminate on the basis of these. So we need to look around these as well. Any question? Okay, so next. So discrimination apply to all employer, public and private sector. Even this apply to the incident occur outside the actual work. Apply to the equal to the discrimination against. protect the both men and women, applied to the protect both implied and implied, imposed to the gender equality duty of the public authorities. It is a duty of the public authorities under the World WTO as well as other to protect it. Any question?
No.
Okay, so see. Discrimination level proof. So proving the discrimination is not straightforward. Women complaining of the discrimination as proof the balance of probability. Can implies serve as a questioner? Implies are allowed to serve as a questionnaire on their employer. So what are the remedies? Declaration, compensation, and recommendation. So there are different cases. So recent case is £275,000 being awarded because the police discriminated the person and they not fairly deal it. So and also receive £300,000 compensation as well. So that can be if somebody not treat you. So under the Discrimination Act. So other related law, Equal Pay Act. So if you have a SAM, we have a right. Disability Act, we can't disability people, we can't treat them different. Human Rights Act 1998, human rights. So a lot of your personal rights, your freedom of speech, your freedom of explanation, your freedom of practice your religion. So that's all, it's come under the. So, but is happening, still happening in different part of the world, but actually these are the laws available there. So Implied Equalities Act 2003, that's all, So these all the protect, Treaty of Rome, which is in 1957, that's the Treaty of Rome, is to protect, international law and treaties. So then we have a Gender Directive 2004 to not discriminate different gender group. Discrimination, yes, on the basis of male and female. Convention eliminate all the form of discrimination against women. ILO's convention equal. All these are the different. We don't need to go through in detail, but at least in terms of the learning outcome, we need to look around the sales. A contract of the sales is when the consumer buy a product or the service, then enter into the contract, and such contract can be split into the two terms. Is called express and implicit terms. Express terms are explicitly stated that the is, for example, item is to be installed, and implicit the term is something which doesn't state something is written but is obvious, that's a reasonable price for the product. It's reasonable. So that in some countries are here in the UK, well, monopoly is illegal. So making the like only one company is providing things, everything. So term of the contract is also divided into the term of condition. For example, product has to be unused if bought new. Also in term of warranty, if the example, if a product is supposed to have a modification or did not, then you would have a recourse to pay a lower price. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Warranties and guarantees, yes. So all come like we earlier discussed about Sales Good Act.
Yeah.
Supply Goods and Services Act 19, Consumer Act, Trade Description, Data Protection. So that's all there. Then we'll already during our previous lesson we discussed about the civil law and the criminal law. So under these, the Sales Good Act, and all this person can be charged both ways, but normally it's come under the civil law. So it's continuous.
Monopoly?
Sorry?
What's monopoly?
Monopoly mean 1% company selling everything.
So it's illegal.
It's illegal. Basically, it's illegal. One company is doing everything. That's why to protect the consumer interests. So government in different countries create, fair competition between the companies. So fair competition help, to protect the individual and protect the wider interest of the public. So if we'll giving like every contract being awarded to one company, which is illegal, yeah. What will be happen then? That company will create a monopoly, one person or one company. Then ultimately they will charge the price from the consumer. So that's why we need to make sure. So we need to make sure that there won't be a monopoly within a business. So that will help us to protect the interest of everyone. Breach of contract. What is meant by breach of contract? One party. So breach of terms. One party breaks the term of the legal enforceable contract.
Hello?
Hello. So breach of contract. So we're discussing about one party break the terms of the legal enforcement contract, and remedies can be action for the damages. If somebody not deliver your goods, if somebody not fulfill, so claim for the we can claim the money, application for the degrees of the specification performance, injunctions can be. So that's mean the much we can deserve it. People can deserve it in terms of any question.
Yeah.
Any question?
No.
Okay, like the yesterday lesson, we discussed about the essential things in a contract. And conditional acceptance, intention to create a legal relation, capacity of the party, consideration, genuine agreement, and not contrary to the public policy. Public policy means the welfare of the society, welfare of the public. If you're charging the price, that's not a welfare of the public. So that is against, so we need to look around. Okay. Have you ever heard about tort law?
No.
Okay, there are many people, those are expert the tort law, and they do specialization in tort law. Tort law means the civil law, and civil wrong independent of the. Hello.
Yeah.
Civil wrong independent of contract for negligence, nuisance, and defamation. So all this is under the tort law. Negligent, like you're supposed to look after your kid, but the kids went and put something in the mouth, and that's come under the negligence. If you're a care worker and health visitor and you're not really protected, that come under the negligence. So other party have a right to go against you and claim the damages. Nuisance, yes. So that's something not fulfilling their wishes. So all this we need to look at. Remedies, compensation, specific performance, example painting, and injections can be both, so we can look around this. So all these been explained. Yes, like the next neighbor has allowed a tree to overgrow to the point where the part of the overhanging your garden and take most of your lights, and this asked him to civilly to take some action, but nothing happened, and you may be there bring a case claiming nuisance. Yes, your neighbor making the noise that will harms your health, that can be charged under the, and that court can pay you damages, and the other party need to be, that's nuisance and negligencies as well. So it's quite good to look around, which is with daily life we are really facing these things. Okay, code of practice. What is meant by code of practice? So code of practice is called how the company will operate. So not a technical law, strong influence under decision code, what the code of practices you in place within our organization, how you make sure you protect the interest, you check the quality of the goods. Have you tested before actually deliver the goods? If the goods is harm the health, so who will be responsible for it? Actually, the company who manufactured it, they can be fined, and they have to pay the damages. So there is a organization called ACAS. They set the code of practices and disciplinary and the grievances procedure in a. So that is all about how can, if you're working in a company or organization, or you're doing or performing, so that the grievances procedure need to be in place. If you're not happy with it, your managers treat you. You have a procedure, you can raise the complaint within our organization. Do we have a complaint procedures in place? Is it? If not, so what we can do, how we can, that's all the code of practices we need to in place within our organization. Regulating business, why we need to regulate the business? Currently minimize the standard, minimum standard. We need to protect the weak against the strong. That will all about the weak against the strong. And benchmark of the good practices, or we can exceeding national minimum wage. Like in the UK, we have £7.50 is every employee supposed to earn 1 hour. £7.50 per hour rate. If somebody not paying it, so they're not protecting it. So we need to look around. So with this, we need to look around as well. Does it make sense? So appropriate framework of ethical behavior. What is meant by ethical behavior? Is it, can we allow child labor?
No.
Okay. Can we tell different things to people? Actually not contained in the product? Like a sugar level in a product? Can we pollute in CO2? Yes? Not. So that's all about, is called the good practices. We have to look around. We have to be ethical behavior to protect the organization, to protect the environment, and to earn the profit, as well. So that's ethically is morally correct. And we have to create a standard for it. Our business is sustainable and business will carry on doing as a normal business. There are some cases between various people. So landmark case was Donaghy and Stephenson. So we don't cases, but just I included, and you can find within a book as well. So landmark decision, manufacturer can be guilty of the tort negligence. Manufacturers who manufacturing the goods. Improvement in the degree of the protection for the consumer need to be, and duty of care. Duty of care is as a manufacturer, as an employer, is a duty of care. So by late 60, the growth of multinational company, major acquisition, growing pressure group, and EU join. So is growth in the small print. So we need to look around. This is all about the protecting. So wider interest of the public is very, very crucial. What are the benefit of regulatory system? State control. So state just make sure protect the interest of the consumer. Industry regulation, like a financial authority who regulate the, who can give. Like here, if you don't have your money and you go in the shop and you can borrow some money, but if you borrow the money against your name, some banks charge 400% interest on it. So if you borrow £1, you have to pay £4 back. Yes. So that's that's the carry on happening. So now government is thinking not to protect it, because this is a high, very high. So if the needy people need the money, this can't be so high interest rate. So this is illegal as well. So you need to be, of course, you have to earn the profit, but you need rate as well. So that's all about the financial. All the banks need to be when they, and these need to be regulated. Any question? Okay, different regulatory bodies there, like audit. Okay. Have you ever heard about watchdog?
Not really.
Okay, never heard. So in the UK, every company, every organization, every sector, they have a watchdog. Watchdog mean independent bodies. If you're not happy with the employer, so that's a watchdog. You can raise employment tribunal. That's the watchdog. If you're not happy with the product, do the complaint in call Ombudsmen. That's the watchdog. If you're not happy with the water company, you can raise the complaint in the water shore. Those give the license to company to work it, and we can do the complaint against them. That's called watchdog. Any question? So those company perform be champion practices, policies, poor performers. So we can introduce informal decision. All this is all about to the consumer protections. Ombudsman is a organization that's a watchdog, and that's regulate, and that's really watch. If you have a complaint against the doctors, if you have a complaint against any other health services, if you have a complaint against the police, if you have a complaint against other, so Ombudsman, we can raise the complaint there. If the complaint will raise very high level, so they can go into Parliament and they can pass the new laws or the regulations. Any question?
No.
Okay, that's all about. It's called self-managed. I'm not sure if we have heard about, but this is Office of Fair Trade. Office of Fair Trade is regulate the trade. Their main purpose to protect the local economy, protect the interest of the individual, and so Office of National State, it's a copyrights and things as well. They protect. So if you wrote something, you produce something, you can register your brand, and no Office of Fair Trade need to be protected. Fair trade. So like, if you're saying something, you should deliver it. So that's all come under the Consumer Protection Act 1967, Trade Description Act, then the Trade Practices Act, then we have a Sales Good Act. So goods, we have a 28 days rule. If you buy any electronic thing, so you have a right to be within 90. So you have a right to be within 90 days you the electronic goods. Hello. Hello. Okay, so today really all about we learn about this Consumer Protection Act,
Yeah.
Trade Description Act, Trade Practice Act, and Sales Good Act. So all these are the Consumer Protection Act, and we discuss about different contract, breach of implicit terms of contract, explicit term of contract. We discuss about warranty, we discuss discrimination, we discuss Data Protection Act. Any question?
No.
So that's all cover our LO2. We already mentioned LLPs, yes, limited partnership, which means the limited liability, that the regulation being set up and further being updated in 2001. And in other countries, Company Act is we have in Asia 1984, like in the previous lesson I mentioned. In the UK, all the company, those registered in the company house, so they have to follow the Company Act 2006. So if you want to be registered your company in the UK, there is a website called Company House. We can register our company and then we can start as a company business. So two types of companies we have that regulate under the Company Act. Do we know the two types of companies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one is a limited company, private limited, one is called public limited. So
Sorry,
private,
what's the other one?
sorry,
What's the other one?
public limited. Private limited, like your family or private investor come together and set up a company, that's called private limited. Public limited, a company which is to the public, like Unilever, Procter and big companies, all these are public limited companies. Private limited, some companies, those are for the construction or the small businesses, normally they have, that can be a private limited companies. So if you have to set up the public limited company, we need £50,000 worth of investment to the public limited company. So for the private limited company, we can set up company as a private limited. There is a no limit of the money. So public limited company, they have to publish the accounts on the public domain after every 12 months. Limited company, they have to only submit in the company house their accounts, and the public private limited company, they don't not normally registered in the stock exchange, but the private limited company can register in the stock exchange and issue shares to the public, and they have an annual general meeting AGM under the company, the dividend end of the, and they have to publish the reports as well under the Company Act. So that's all come under the Company Act 2006. Any question?
No.
So that's all about we covered today LO2. So please, if any question, any point we not get it, ask me. So during our next lesson, we'll go through employment laws, agencies, agent, and relationship. We have an agency act as well, like a recruitment agency selections. Those, those are working as a recruitment consultant, what their rules and regulations are, how they can perform, where they can register, what are their responsibility, how they earn the commissions and things, so how they protect the interests of the individual. And then last lesson we'll go through these mergers, so all these are different mergers and acquisitions and the brand name, trademark, where we can register, how we can. So all this will go through during our last lesson then. Okay, have a nice time. We'll keep up to here then. Okay, so book is there. I'm going to upload all the lessons. Okay, all the recordings as well. So today a bit, internet was issue. We really cut off a good few times. Hope so you will get all the recordings. Maybe in a patches so you can play and can listen. Okay. So we okay in terms of our finance assignment?
Yeah.
Accounting. So please, if any question, drop me email. I'm going to send you the feedback as well. So hope so we'll be fine then.
Yeah.
Have a nice time.
Thank you.
Bye. बेटा 5 मिनट